of running back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another draft edition, a special live draft edition mock draft version of the Barking Brown Show. I'm Jacob. That's Bill. We're brought to you as always by our friends over at SeatGeek. Use our promo code Barking Browns, all one word. At checkout, get $20 off your purchase. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. We got some cool stuff going on over here. We got all kinds of shit. It's going to go on. So subscribe and stuff. And I'm all frazzled. Bill, how we doing?
Jacob, we're doing good, man. The reason you're so frazzled is because we got to pay the bills. It's time to turn the lights on. We got to pay the bills. We're going to do a full first round 2026 mock draft. We're going to cover all 32 picks, and we're going to cover the 4 teams that do not have a first round pick. That's Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Green Bay, and Atlanta. For those fans, stick around to the end. Folks, make sure if you're watching this, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you turn on that notification bell so then that way we can continue to bring you these kinds of things. We got some really cool stuff coming down the pike, but you got to be here. You got to tune in. Jacob, we didn't talk about it before we went on the air.
No, because I wanted to put you on the spot.
You want to put me on the spot at number 1?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I was going to you choose. Do you want evens or odds?
You can give me the evens, and I will put you on the spot at number. Hey, it's a lot easier now that the Las Vegas Raiders are in the spot at number 1 because, like Cleveland, like the Jets, like the Giants, the Raiders just need everything, and you can see it by 7 or 8 different positions. You could throw a dart and pick a player, and it would be a great pick for the Raiders. So, without further ado, the floor is yours for the Raiders, who have the number 1 overall pick for the first time since 2007, which was Jamarcus Russell. No pressure to beat that one.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard. You know, I know probably everybody that watches this show has heard this story, but I still have to, anytime Jamarcus Russell gets mentioned, I always remember that the Raiders would send him home with blank tape to watch because they didn't think he was watching tape at home like he said he was, and they sent him home with blank DVDs or VHS, whatever the hell it was, and they asked him what he watched the next day, and he was like, yeah, it was a bunch of blitz packages. It was like, Jamarcus, there was nothing on those tapes.
There's nothing on the tape. Like it's like the old draft day video. Like, yeah, they taped a $20 bill to the very back page of the playbook, and somehow the whole playbook got returned and the money was still there. It was never touched. Like, come on.
It's just the funniest thing. Every time I think about it, I can't get over it. What's up, MC? MC hanging out in the comments, brother. Glad you're here. Okay. All right, let's get this freaking thing started. Okay, so it's easy for me. He's been QB1 for a while for me. It is Fernando Mendoza. He's the number 1 overall pick to me. Is there a push that Dante Moore could make? Kind of, because I really freaking like Dante Moore right now. We're going to see what happens with the rest of the college football playoffs. But I just did an article over at Brownswire. You can check out my written stuff, brownswire.usatoday.com. Find Bill's written stuff at twsn.net. But I wrote up a full profile of Dante Moore. I wrote it up before the Browns won. And then I was like, you dicks. But I will never be angry about beating Pittsburgh. Never. So, but anyway, for me, Fernando Mendoza, very accurate. I think he's really smart. Always feels like he's in complete and total control of the offense when he's out there. And that's the number 1 thing I want with my quarterback is like, he understands, okay, my hot route's here, or my protection's here. I need to move it here. He knows how to run that offense. There's no doubts, no concerns. He knows what he's got to do. He understands what's going on in front of him. Really smart quarterback. I love Fernando Mendoza. So I'll take Mendoza here, number 1, and put you on the clock with a very interesting decision with both New York teams here back to back.
Absolutely. So we didn't talk about it before we started, but obviously if the Giants are picking here, it's one of two things. Either they just couldn't find the trade partner that they wanted and get the capital back that they wanted, or Joe Shane is no longer employed and there is a whole new staff in place.
We're totally cool with I'm totally cool with trades, by the way.
I was just about to say that.
Yes.
I'm going to operate that we are trading this selection, and we're just going to drop back one selection here. We are going to send the number 2 overall pick to the New York Jets. We're going to keep it right there in MetLife Stadium. Jets are going to trade up 2-3. In this scenario, you're going to probably mirror the same trade that you saw for Mitch Trubisky back in 2017, which involved quite a few picks just for the sake of time. We're just going to swap them, but you're probably looking, if you're the Jets, you're probably looking at keeping that 18th overall pick. You'll probably give up 35. You'll probably give up 46, and you'll probably give up a future second rounder to make it work. Or you keep 35 and 46 and you just send 18. We're going to see what we can do about making it with 18, but Jets trading up to number 2 overall, just a quick swap. And with that, the New York Jets are going to get their quarterback of the future in Dante Moore, who Jacob sees as a franchise quarterback. I still have some apprehension just because of the amount of starts and his ability to handle pressure. But pound for pound, this is the smoothest thrower of the football in the entire class at quarterback. And the New York Jets get their guy of the future here in Dante Moore.
And it's like we did a scout. I did the written report about it, but we also did a video over the weekend about Dante Moore. It's like all the issues we have with him is he just is not physical. It's just like play time, how he handles pressure, things of that nature. So the physical tools, I think pretty much universally people will agree with you that is there. So we get to the New York Giants, and you have I was out to dinner with a buddy of mine who was a Giants fan yesterday during the Steelers game. And he was very apprehensive about Jackson Dart and how many times like he's been evaluated for good. He's like, I don't know. Like, he's like, I love Cam Scadaboo and I love Jackson Dart. I just don't know if they play the game in a way that's sustainable. You could go a lot of different ways here with them. I love that they were able to kind of get a couple of extra picks, because that's kind of, when you're picking second, it's reality when you're in the top 10, unless you're Vegas or somehow the Chiefs. I'm sorry, unless you're the Rams or somehow the Chiefs and you're in the top 10. Just a weird year. It's a weird year. The Chiefs aren't in the playoffs. It's so weird. It's not going to be a pass rusher. Like, they're not going to go the Arvell Reese route. They've got plenty of pass rushers, so I'm not concerned about that. They've got enough at wide receiver. You know what?
I mean,
Carnell Tate opposite Malik Neighbors. You make the job a lot easier on Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo.
It doesn't even have to be Jackson Dart at that point. You could put Jackson Carlos back there from the maintenance staff, and he would succeed with Malik Neighbors and Carnell Tate.
I'm doing it. Carnell Tate, no drops. I believe, no drops on 58 targets. Right. That's the story. And he gets to be the number 2 with Malik Neighbors, and we can find out what you got at quarterback. And then you got extra second round picks. Build that offensive line. So I'm doing it. I'm getting wild right out the gate. Boom. Carnell Tate to the Giants at 3. I know, MC, I screwed the Browns, and I'm not the one picking for the Browns on either pick. So suck it.
Yeah. Pretty much it's going to be me on both, and MC's really going to hate me because I'm going to screw them over even more, because this pick is going to happen provided his medicals check out in February. If his medicals check out, he's going this high. We're going to get a wide receiver run here. Jordan Tyson, the Arizona State wide receiver here, just a 1.6% drop rate, which is just otherworldly. We're already getting booed. I'm feeling the tomatoes getting thrown at me in the comments.
I see the boo.
But you have to look at the Titans depth chart at wide receiver. It's Chimere Dike, who's a true slot guy, one of the guys that I loved last year in Alec Manor, and then who else? And even then, that's 2 rookies. Like, you need to, if Cam Ward's going to succeed, it's got to be with some talent. And Jordan Tyson is about as close to a top tier talent as it gets in this class, provided the medicals check out. If he is not, if there's any medical questions, because we've seen soft tissue injuries, we've seen a collarbone injury, we've seen multiple injuries from him, he's not going to go this high. But if he is fully 100% healthy and ready to run, Jordan Tyson here to Tennessee.
MC says Bill's doing this to me out of spite. He probably is.
Out of spite. No, like
he's the one that's got to make the pick for the Browns too. Anyway, so like,
yeah, I gotta pick both Browns picks. So like, if anything, I would have given him like Jeremiah Love or something.
Yeah, the Cardinals are interesting. So quarterback, I don't think another one. I think in the back end around one, you might see another like a maybe Ty Simpson goes in the back end around one if he declares. Maybe, but like I don't see a situation in any way, shape, or form that another one goes in the top 10. I just don't. It's just not the class for that. They could use offensive line help. They could use running back. I could really throw a wrench and just take Jeremiah Love at number 5 and just get crazy.
Listen, if you want to take some of the pressure off of Kyler Murray, a running back like Jeremiah Love will do it.
And I'm like looking at offensive tackle, and it's not until like Spencer Fano is the first one, and that's probably accurate for me. I think he's probably my top tackle. Don't they have, who do they have on the right side? No, they don't have a right. They just have Paris Johnson on the other side.
Yeah, they have Kelvin Beachum as their right tackle right now.
You know what? I'm going to go Spencer Fano and give him 2 bookends at tackle with Paris Johnson Jr. over on the left side. And then whether it's Kyler Murray or our guy, Jacoby Brissett.
Hey.
Be a lot better if you had a good right tackle.
With Drew Petzing as our former offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. But hey, so we're here at 6, what everybody has all wanted to see, and it is an absolute disaster class in the past 3 picks, wide receiver, and Spencer Fano. So this is the absolute worst scenario that you could possibly imagine. So with that being said, we're making a trade here.
Oh.
And the trade that we are going to make, I'm going to pull up the simulator to make sure I have the correct order, is we are trading with the number 12 Miami Dolphins, because the Dolphins are in true panic mode right now. They just saw Spencer Fano go off the board. They need offensive tackle help like they need air. It is a struggle. You trade down, you get the 6, you get the 12, you probably get the 44, and you probably get a first-round pick next year as well. The Dolphins are just in absolute dire straits of a need. So we're going to have Browns trade back, and I can already hear Browns fans just booing me off of this platform and off of the stage, but we're going to do it. Miami Dolphins come up here to the 6th overall selection, and they take safety Caleb Downs from the Ohio State University. Everybody thought it was offensive tackle. Everybody said they're coming up for an offensive tackle. It has to be. That's what Miami needs. The only thing that is worse in Miami than their offensive tackle room is that defensive backfield, and they will not allow the Washington Commanders to take Downs at 7. They jump up to 6 for the Dolphins there.
You're right. I forgot Arizona's defense is pretty rough. I probably should have gone defense on that pick. You're right about that. All right. Washington on the board. I think this one's pretty easy for me. It's my number 1 overall prospect. It's Arvell Reese. MC said we're pretty desperate too. But for me, it's Arvell Reese, man. Like, you've got to get, like, you can't, they have no pass rush. Like, not consistently. That defense is a mess. You got Dan Quinn out over there, like a defensive give him a chess piece, an off ball, like this weird hybrid. I think Arvell Reese projects best as a Michael Parsons style pass rusher. Like, I think, and that's probably why he'll end up, I think, going in the top 10, is because people are going to look at him the way they looked at Micah Parsons, and they go, yeah, we didn't look at Michael Parsons as an edge rusher coming out, had we? And we had known, like, you've seen the blueprint for it. He's just like a freaky kind of athlete for me. And he's just like, it's really, there's just the 1 year of real outstanding play, so there's a little bit of risk there. But sitting at number 7 to have a guy like Arbel Reese fall in your lap when you're Washington, I love that. So I'm taking Arbel Reese from Ohio State.
Love it. Love it. And I'm glad you went with your number 1 overall prospect, because I'm going to go here with a guy that I had recently as my number 1 overall prospect. He's fallen down a bit, down to 7th, just because of some concerns. But it's edge rusher Ruben Bain from Miami. Listen, I get you have the concerns about his arm length. I get it. But you've seen a guy who has developed around it and has become an otherworldly force, and you put him on that New Orleans Saints defensive line that needs to get younger in a hurry when your best pass rusher is arguably Cameron Jordan, you have a problem. Put Ruben Bain on that defense. I know some people are probably thinking, well, aren't they in the market for a quarterback? Tyler Shuck, who I had a top 50 grade on last year, so let me go ahead and plant that flag again, has looked very well, and I think has staved off the quarterback talk till 2027. So the Saints turn to the defensive side of the ball and get their cornerstone edge rusher here in Ruben Bain Jr.
If I was the Saints personally, yeah, I'd like to see what Kellen Moore does with Tyler Shuck moving forward, because I do think, and some people have talked a little bit about Ruben Bain because of the arm length and stuff moving inside. Okay.
Right.
I mean, look at a guy like Alex Wright who plays inside outside for the Browns, and it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Even if you moved him inside, they run a 4-3 kind of hybrid defense. And right now their edges are Cameron Jordan, Chase Young. And then on the inside, you've got Jonathan Bullard and Brian Breesy. You can upgrade there too. This is take him and find somewhere for him on the defensive line because we need it.
Yeah, and he's one of those prospects. It's just like some of these offensive linemen that might have to go to guard. Some of these tackles that need to go to guard where you're like, hey, he's a good football player. We'll find a place for him. I'm fine with that. I don't know. Everybody does it. Everybody's going to boo me for this. I'm ready for the boo. Am I taking Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs? Because, oh my God. Give Big Red Jeremiah Love. Like, are you... Come on.
Everybody does it because it's just a valid pick. It's going to happen. The sooner
if it's there,
all accept it, it's going to happen.
Yeah. We can fight it, guys. We can fight it all we want. But it is inevitable. Dude, Jeremiah Love, Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs. I'm not even going to try to explain myself because everybody's just going to call me like predictable, but it's just like, it's just like, do you remember last year, every time you did a mock draft at 4 overall, you're like, yeah, the Patriots are taking Will Campbell. And then they took Will Campbell.
It was exactly that.
It's just the most obvious thing. If the Chiefs remain in the top 10 and he's a running back and there's a steep drop off after him. So I know positional value, but especially if the Chiefs remain in the top 10, it feels inevitable to me.
Yeah. And the thing is, he's not just a running back. The amount of ability that he provides you in the passing game as well as a receiver, and the burst and speed he has, he is going to be an otherworldly force for whoever drafts him. And Kansas City just gets a home run there. The other captain obvious pick in our in this mock so far is going to be number 10 to Cincinnati, because when your defensive tackles are BJ Hill, TJ Slayton, McKinley Jackson, and Howard Cross, you have a problem along the interior. So you have to go, even though the defensive tackle class isn't super spectacular or stellar, I don't have a first round grade on anybody, you have to go with a defensive tackle here. Now, it becomes a fun conversation of which one do you go? Do you value the higher floor, lower ceiling of Peter Woods, or the sky high ceiling with the injury concerns of Caleb Banks? For me, my defensive tackle number 1 is Caleb Banks, and that's who Cincinnati's going with here, because at 6'6", 330 pounds, the way he moves, he should not move in that fashion. Now, the problem is, as you see there, he only played in 3 games this season because of a foot injury. And foot injuries for defensive tackles is huge. But I think if he hits this ceiling of what he can be, he is going to be a top 15 defensive tackle in the NFL at a minimum. And a great question there. Why wouldn't Cincinnati take an offensive lineman? The value is just not here.
Yeah,
the value is just not here, because the question, they need tackle more than they do guard. And right now, the best ones on the board are Caleb Lomu, who some folks have seen as a late round one guy. I have him as my 11th overall prospect. And then Francis Maui-Noa, who some see as a guard rather than a right tackle. So the value just isn't here, but I like that thought process. I think they're going to lean Caleb Banks just because of the sky-high ceiling that he can bring to Cincinnati.
It wouldn't surprise me if they go offensive line because they absolutely need both. I feel like they end up picking someone in the trenches. On what side of the ball? We'll see. But, Chris, let me get you caught up. I'll make this pick here. So Chris joining the live here wants to know what he's missed. All right, I've got the odds. Bill's got evens. You got Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, the little trade action from 2 to 3. The two New York teams swap. Carnell Tate goes number 3 to the Giants. Jordan Tyson number 4 to the Titans. Spencer Fano number 5 to the Cardinals. Then the Browns trade down to 12 with the Dolphins. Caleb Downs goes off the board. Arvell Reese goes to Washington. Ruben Bain to New Orleans. Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs. And Caleb Banks to the Bengals. That catches us up on the top 10. Oh. I did not see that Jackson here, and then he has officially fired him. Listen, man, he's got both picks, so we're gonna see. He might trade down again. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep trading down at this point.
He just keeps doing weird things. All right, so anyway, we got LA who could win the Super Bowl. They could legitimately win the Super Bowl and have a top 11 pick. That's what MC said. If you trade down again, he's gonna go off on you. I'm very indifferent when it comes to corner. They could use some corner help. I think that one's very clear. The conversation between Jamad McCoy and Mansour Delane, the top 2 corners, in my opinion, in this class. Avion Trell's in that conversation too, but he's a little smaller. With McCoy, it's like, if you go watch it, he didn't play this year. But if you go watch that 2024 tape, my God, is that good tape. But if you watch Mansour Delane, it's like he did it this year. And I think Jermon McCoy might have a higher ceiling than Mansour Delane.
Yeah.
And because the Rams are in this position, not because they're a bad team, but because they made a smart draft trade, I think they're able to take a guy like Jermon McCoy, the higher ceiling guy, because they are a better team. That's what better teams do at the back end of the first round. And they just happen to be able to do it at pick 11, and they could take a little bit more risk and bet on upside. So I'm going to take Jermon McCoy, the Tennessee corner who didn't play this year, but was phenomenal last year. I'm going to take him at 11 for the Rams. Let's see. If Bill trades down again, I'm going off. Jack says, and then we get Phil Taylor.
Yes.
Josh says the only way I trade down out of the top 10 is if I get a first next year. He did. That was part of the trade.
Yes.
I didn't put it in the simulator.
We didn't go through the entire draft values, but in that scenario, essentially what would have happened is the Browns traded down to 12. They got 12, 44, and a future first. So that's why the trade was consummated. But yeah, I'm with Josh. The only way I'm trading out of the top 10 is if I get a future first. And I'm back on the clock here at 12. And at this point, obviously, the board still kind of looks pretty similar, which is why Cleveland felt okay about trading down here. For this one, we're going to attack the offensive line first, and we're going to go with right tackle from Miami, Francis CC Maui-Noa. Listen, this dude is an athletic, mauling machine, and I know there's questions about his arm length. So either you're putting him at right tackle or you slide him inside to guard, which is why you're okay with the trade down from 6 to 12, because either way, it's somewhere on the right side of the offensive line. So, and thank you, Jackson. This is the whole purpose. We get CC Maui-Noa, and it's Miami's first round pick next year. So keep that in mind when they've still got Tua Tagovailoa or Quinn Ewers and a new GM. Keep that one in mind, folks. But yeah, Browns take CC Maui-Noa here and don't think twice.
Yeah, I'm fine with that because they need every single offensive line position. So just get me talent and figure out what to do with it. We said that about who was it? We said who were we talking about? We were talking about somebody earlier. You draft him and just it's a guy you draft and you just okay. Everybody says
Ruben Bain.
Ruben Bain. All right, I'm at 13. 13 with the Bucks. They could use some offensive line help. I think it's still too early to go for a. He asked if we have if they need a left tackle first. Chris says, yeah, I don't think there's a left tackle there. That's worth it.
Caleb
at 12.
Caleb Lomu would be the conversation, but good question, Chris. The thing is, they need both. So we can do both. Take a guy, you're going to probably need at least 4, maybe 5 offensive line spots. So you just take the best offensive lineman available, which is Maui Noah, and move on from there.
They could use a tight. I don't know if I would go tight end here. They could use edge. Mm-hmm. Is people gonna crucify me if I
would say if you wanted to put someone next to and eventually replace legendary Levante David, Sonny Styles would not be.
Oh God, how did I'm looking right at him. I didn't even see Sonny Styles for whatever reason. My favorite thing about Sonny Styles is you can see on there his 0% missed tackled rate, even though he's got like 86? Yeah, 86 tackles.
Yeah.
Huh.
If he gets his hands on you, it's a ball game.
Yeah, no, I know Corey Kinnon's got him as his number 2 prospect overall. He could learn from Levante David. Heck yeah, man. Give me Sonny Styles in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I for whatever, you know how it is. You get scrolling through there, and I became Sonny Styles blind for some reason. Didn't even realize he was still there.
Yeah, 100%. So Dallas on the clock here at pick 14, and they could pick anything. They could pick Michael Parsons with this pick. Funny joke. Dun-dun-dun-dun. But no, I think Dallas does go with a pass rusher here, and the best ones that you're going to look at that are available right now do some different things for you. Obviously, you have Keldrick Falk, who's probably more of an interior guy. You have TJ Parker, who, more of a finesse technique rather than a physical athletic traits winner. But I'm going to go with a guy who I think is more of a DPR role because of his size at 6'3", 240, but he has been doing monster work out of Texas A&M. It's Cassius Howell, the edge rusher at Texas A&M. There's just something in the water at Texas A&M. We saw Shamar Stewart. We saw Nick Scourton. You see him right there with true pass set grade of 86.2, a pass rush win rate of almost 20%. The big concern is at 6'3", 240. He's a little bit undersized for the edge position, but that did not stop Dallas from taking Donovan Ezeraku last year. So now you have an edge grouping of Ezeraku and Cassius Howell. That's a win.
And we are back on the board with the Lions. Sure. Let's put next to Aiden Hutchinson. Let's give him Peter Woods. Because
Jesus. And then you put Tyleek Williams there too. Jesus Christ, what are we doing in Detroit?
Is this a Dan Campbell pick or what? Dan Campbell, if they get on the board at 15 and Peter Woods is still there, and they're like, oh, Dan Campbell's like, good man. It's like Peter Woods. Here's the thing. This is what I want to say about Peter Woods. We talked about him being like generational, and things just didn't go great for Clemson this year, and he was. A lot of people will tell you, including me, that it was kind of a disappointment. And it wasn't because he was bad. It was just because there was so much buildup that it didn't quite land. It's like, remember going into last year when everybody was talking about Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State before he had ever played, when he was a true freshman. It was like, man, I think we might be setting ourselves up for failure because we have these unrealistic expectations. And then it paid off. Well, I think with Peter Woods, he had a good year. He's not much of a pass rusher, 8.4 pass rush win rate. He does have the tools. I do think he's got the athletic ability. I think he has the power. He has the strength. I just think he's a little bit more development than we thought he had. I think there was a little bit more of a learning curve that he wasn't quite there. The production, is about the same, but you can see the overall grade dips from last year to this year. Put him on that defensive line, put him in Detroit, that mentality. Tyleek Williams, Aiden Hutchinson, Peter Woods. Yeah, just really try to beef up the interior in Detroit on the defensive side. So I got Peter Woods at 15.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I've got Baltimore here at 16, and I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path. And Ravens fans, I need you to stick with me. You've got a right guard in Daniel Faalele that just has looked like a screen door in a hurricane at times, just letting everything come through, and it's been bad.
Yeah.
And you look at this offensive line group right now, and you look at who's on the board. There's one name.
I'll put them both on. Hold on.
There you go. There's one name that has popped up as a guard prospect. Some people are very high on him. Some people aren't so high on him. We're going to go with Caden Proctor from Alabama here, making the transition inside to right guard to replace Daniel Faalele rather than play right tackle. And here's the thing too, if you ever have an injury on that right side with Roger Rosengarten, you can slide Proctor right back out to right tackle in a pinch. But I think inside interior as a guard at the next level, I think this is an absolute home run hit for the Ravens. I know Vega Ione is there, but I think the ceiling for Proctor is much higher, and the Ravens are going to be willing to gamble on that ceiling. And we've seen the Ravens make picks like this all the time with Mike Green and Malachi Starks and make the league look entirely stupid for overthinking it with Caden Proctor for the Ravens here.
I still wouldn't touch him in the first, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
I think he'll eventually get there just because of the sheer amount of demand for offensive linemen. Someone will take him, but I'm with you. I wouldn't touch him in the first either.
Yeah, I do agree that will talk themselves into thinking they can develop him. Which, if you're talking about raw talent, Caden Proctor's got it. It's just not developed. It just never came. It's just you'll see it. And you'll be like, huh? And then it'll be poo poo again. And but like he's also only like what 21. He's like 21. He's a 3-year starter, so he's also incredibly young. So that does feel very Ravensy, very Philadelphia, where it's like, oh yeah, we're a powerhouse when it comes to developing talent. And
yes,
I mean that's why both of those teams. I know that the Ravens in this scenario currently sit outside of the playoff race, but they very easily put themselves in it this week. All right, I've got Minnesota. Minnesota defensive. Yeah. This is the Mansour Delane spot. Yeah. That secondary. I mean, when you've got Brian Flores, Josh, Alabama tackles, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Which is why he plays guard for them.
Right. That's why we're moving him to guard. But Mansour Delane, like, if you can get a defensive back like Mansour Delane, a lockdown corner, there's a chance Brian Flores gets hired away, but he's got that lawsuit against the NFL, so there's a decent chance he doesn't get a head coaching job. If he doesn't, and you're like, hey, I'm going to give you a lockdown number 1 corner in Mansour Delane, like, what do you think Brian Flores is going to do? I mean, look at that man coverage grade. Dude, this dude locks you down. You can put him on an island, and he's just such a great man cover corner. That frees up, Brian Flores to get a little more exotic because he knows he's got a guy that can win one-on-one and lock guys down. Yeah, man, give me Mansour Delane here to the Vikings at 17.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Jets back on the clock here, and remind me where we went with the Jets' first pick, because remember we traded down with the New York Giants, got both of the Giants picks.
Technically, you traded up with the Jets.
That's correct.
And the Jets got Dante Moore at 2.
Jets got Dante Moore. We traded up. You are right. So now in this scenario, we've given up kind of the rest of our day 2 picks and a pick next year. We've got to get a weapon for Dante Moore. So we're going to take a look at wide receiver here. And when you look at what we already have Garrett Wilson, who does a lot of the things very well on the intermediate parts of the field. So let's go get a tall jump ball, climb the ladder guy that I've compared to a wide receiver 2 in T. Higgins. It's Denzel Boston from Washington, and watch Dante Moore flourish as he has Garrett Wilson, Denzel Boston, and then you just have to figure out your backfield with potentially Breece Hall. But you look at it, a 3% drop rate, but look at that contested catch rate, folks. Almost 77%.
And it's 10 contested catches.
10 contested catches. If it's in his area code, he's coming down with it. So now you have Dante Moore, who is a very smooth passer, And now we say, well, we're going to give you Garrett Wilson to work in the intermediate parts of the field. And then, oh, by the way, you want to throw some jump balls and contested catches? Here's Denzel freaking Boston.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. If I'm the Jets, I'm like, okay, I've got, yep. And they have the, 3 first rounds next year too, in 27. Which is just great. All right, I got Carolina on the board. This one's good. This one's easy for me, man. David Bailey being here, the Texas Tech edge rusher, is kind of insane to me. They really could use some more pass rush. They could use linebacker, interior, but I think David Bailey is awesome. You're talking about a Texas Tech team who is going against Oregon this week. Oh my God, I can't wait for that game. It's going to be a hell of a game this week. College football playoff. But David Bailey, you see there the nearly 22% pass rush win rate, a 95 grade in true pass rush sets, 14 sacks, 43 hurries, 20 hits. He just terrorizes quarterbacks. Period. Point blank. End of story. If he's at 19, man, I would, if I was the Carolina Panthers getting David Bailey, I love it. He's just he just lives in backfields, like a little inconsistent, maybe not a fantastic run defender, but he can do it. He can do it. And you're not going to, but you're not drafting him at 19 to do that. You're drafting him at 19 to make quarterbacks lose sleep. And he's been doing that this year. David Bailey at 19.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just like how easy that pick was, this one's even easier for Pittsburgh here at 20. Yes, you're going to lose Aaron Rodgers probably after the season. There's not a quarterback worth taking here. The next one in conversation would be Ty Simpson, and I don't think he's a first-round guy. So why don't you just go ahead and just get another weapon to replace Adam Thielen and slide him next to DK Metcalf. Makai Lemon from USC, you could play him on the outside. You could play him in the slot. Those two, DK Metcalf and Makai Lemon, as your wide receivers 1 and 2. It doesn't matter who's back there at quarterback. You can make it work because this dude is just a demon in terms of getting open at all parts of the field.
And the thing is, you talk about his size, he still has a 66.7 contested catch rate. He is a little bit smaller. He has 2 drops on over 100 targets.
Yep. Exactly. And he's a little bit small at 5'11", 195. But we've seen smaller guys win in the NFL. JSN, for example. Being small isn't the death sentence that it once was.
No, not in the modern NFL. With a lot of the offenses, the way they run. All right, Dallas back on the clock here with Green Bay's pick. I need to go back up here. So you already hit edge with Cassius Howell on the first go around. There's not really a running back here. What do I have? Have it safety. The Pittsburgh pick might depend on who the coach is. Yeah, good point, Josh. Great point, Josh.
Yeah, 100%.
I love AJ Halsey and Dylan Thieneman, but I don't know if I think it might be a little bit too early to go that route. But linebacker, another need. Is there a need? If anybody in the chat has a need for Dallas that I'm missing,
I was just say if you're
CJ Allen,
if you're looking at it. The problem is there is one name on the board that could do pretty well if you wanted to slot him in next to Tyler Booker and Cooper Beebe. Vega Ione here at left guard for Dallas.
Yeah. I think I like that. I think I like. You can't draft a new owner and GM for Dallas. Yeah, I like that. I'll take Ione there. I love Vega Ione. I think he's a first-round pick. I think he's a top 20 good player. I don't know where I got to redo my board because of all the people coming in and out.
Yep, exactly. So Chargers on the clock here, and if you could draft a new training staff for the Los Angeles Chargers, that's probably where you'd want to look. But, I mean, looking at what they would need, I would say probably an edge is where you're going to be looking, running in a 3-4. Let's take a look at the edge board. Let's see what we've got. Because if you can find a way to replace yep, I'm going to do it. It's a little early for him, but he's done very well up to this point, especially as a DPR. Give me our Mason Thomas from Oklahoma here. It's a little off the beaten path. I get it, but this is a guy who just gets after the passer, just makes absolute sense for the Chargers here. A little on the light side at 6'2", 245. But the fact is, anytime you get 6 sacks in a season, especially with the pass rush grade of almost 87, and the way he wins is athletically, but also does have a decent set of skills, you replace Khalil Mack with our Mason Thomas and watch this Chargers defense pick up a little bit.
Yeah, especially like he's dealt with a little bit of an injury. That's kind of that hamstrings kind of bothered him it affected his production in the later part of the season. Yeah, I like our Mason Thomas. That really fantastic athlete. Like I just the ceiling, the tools are there. Maybe gets a little bit stronger, maybe. But if you're drafting him as a DPR, oh god, it doesn't need a pass rusher. Yeah, 100%. He was made for that.
Yeah.
Chris says, my hat's off. It must be hard doing a mock draft. It is. That hurt me to watch him take Mekhi Lemon for the Steelers as a Browns fan, but I know it's a good pick. That's how I know it's a good pick, because I was like, no.
Like, it hurts, but yeah, yeah.
Suck up. All right, we got the Eagles on the clock. Who has slid the most?
Yeah, who's still here that shouldn't be?
Do I want to just be crazy, or do I want to be? I think they're such a good team; they could really go.
I mean, if you were, I know where you're thinking.
I kind of want to go KC Concepcion.
You bastard! You know it's the right call too.
Oh god!
You know it's the right call, because here's the thing: they have AJ Brown and Devonta Smith on the outside, and now you're gonna put KC in the slot, or you put Devonta in the slot, and now you have AJ Brown and KC on the outside. And we just saw what Luther Burden did on the outside against San Francisco. KC Concepcion's gonna win in the same fashion. Oh, and by the way, he's a really good freaking punt returner too. I hate it. I love it because KC Concepcion is my wide receiver 1. I hate it because it's Philadelphia getting another good player here.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, man. I'm doing it. It feels like where they're going to go, and they're going to go, hey, people are overthinking the fact that he's a little small because he's just so dynamic as a playmaker. And they're like, oh, we want to add more dynamic playmakers, and you're just going to let us without having to trade up? Okay.
Okay, we'll do it. And Chris has a good question here in the chat about Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is already off the board. He went 6th overall to the Miami Dolphins, who traded up to get Caleb Downs and prevent the Washington Commanders. Screws the Bills too.
Taking KC screws the Bills too. Yeah.
It does too.
It does.
So I'm on the clock here with Buffalo, and they're crying and screaming that KC Concepcion just went to Philadelphia. But I am going to stick in the wide receiver realm for Buffalo. And I think that they're going to go back to the big boy well one more time. And they're going to go with a big body guy who stands at 6'5", 200 pounds, who runs a very, very quick straight line speed. This isn't your father's Tennessee wide receiver, folks. It's Chris Brazzell from Tennessee. You look at these grades, 3% drop rate on 87 targets, over 1,000 yards, 2 drops.
Yeah.
The big thing he does is he wins in the deep and the intermediate parts of the field. And remind me again, how strong is Josh Allen's arm?
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
It's pretty strong. It's a freaking cannon. And imagine Chris Brazzell flying down the field while Shakir works the underneath stuff. That is a perfect 1A, 1B fit for Buffalo. They would have loved Concepcion, but they'll take Brazzell here as Josh Allen's new number 1 wide receiver.
And I know he's hurt, but like Chris Bell in that spot, the Louisville wide receiver, is also someone to think about. That I think he's another size speed guy, and he tore his ACL at the end of November, but like that, he's probably going to be back by the regular season. It seems like too many wide receivers in the first. I think it's a loaded class, man.
Yeah.
I think I've got 10 in my top 50. Maybe it is too many wide receivers, but there's just like
I've got 10 in my top 55. I'm right there with you. I think, and I think we've only gone through probably
how many?
Brazel, Concepcion,
3, 4, 6.
6.
Yeah, 6. We got 6 for in the first. I think that's too crazy. Like, is it a lot? Yeah. It is.
I mean, you look at last year, we had 4 in round 1. The year before, we had 7. So you look over the last 2 years, you're talking 11 in the first. You're talking average of 5.5 over the last 2 years. So we're right there.
This is where the slide for Keldrick Folk ends. With the Bears on the board here. I like Keldrick Folk quite a bit. Kind of more herald as for his run defense. You can see only a couple of sacks this year. Pass rush run rate's only at 10%. But the run stop rate is on an elite level, an 84.2 run defense grade. Kind of a bigger guy, 285 pounds, 6'6". They need help all along the defensive line. I think Falk can play some inside, some outside, give you some pass rush, and give you some. He's got some pass rush upside, and give you some good run defense. They need help all along that defensive line. So Keldrick Falk, I will take him at 25 for the Bears.
Love it. So I am 26 here for Houston, and I'm going to go with my player who is number 27th on my board because CJ Stroud is screaming. Do you guys have any offensive linemen? Any of them? Please, I'm begging. When your interior is Jarrett Patterson, Jake Andrews, and Ed Ingram, you have a problem. And I'm going with a guy who I say pound for pound is the best pass protecting offensive lineman in this class. Hands down. It's Texas A&M interior offensive line, Chase Besantis.
Okay.
Like I said, this guy is the best pass protecting offensive lineman in this entire class. Now, his run blocking leaves a little bit to be desired, but if you're looking to protect CJ Stroud, who is the future of your franchise at quarterback, you need to help improve the pressure on the interior. Well, I need a really good interior offensive lineman who's really good at pass protection. That's Chase Besantis through and through. I know it's a little early for some. He's my 27th overall prospect here at 26. Slam dunk for me.
Are you ready for it?
Oh, you're going to do it, aren't you? You're going to do it. I hear the thousands upon thousands of Browns fans screaming at you because they still miss. First off, let's just talk about how both of us are Browns guys and talk about how this mock has gone so far.
It's terrible.
We saw Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, and Spencer Fano go before the Browns pick at 6. And now we're seeing Ty Simpson, Alabama, the third quarterback on the board, pretty much universally thought of going to the Rams here. But I'll let you take back over and tell me about Ty Simpson.
Ty Simpson, man, like you can tell he's a 1-year starter when you see him against pressure, and you see it on here. His pressure grade from PFF, it's bad. It's 46. What is that? 46.1. But Matt Stafford's the MVP, even though he didn't have a back during training camp. I don't know what the hell happened there. But Ty Simpson, underrated athlete, just like Matt Stafford. I know Stafford's also much older at this point in his career, but I think Matt Stafford still has more mobility than people give him credit for. If you keep him clean, Ty Simpson is the best over the middle intermediate thrower this season. The last 6 weeks of the season got a little messy with him because they have no run game. It was all on his back, and they just started pressuring the crap out of him, and his inexperience showed. And then he kind of popped back up. He kind of popped back up in that. What was it? The playoff game. Sorry, the first playoff game. He comes out. They're down 17-0. And he just starts coming out firing against Oklahoma, and brings him back. He needs some time. He needs some work. his accuracy can be inconsistent, but I think he's got a good enough arm. And I think in the right situation where he can sit and learn. And I think LA is a great place for him because he can go with Sean McVay. I think Sean McVay can tailor the offense around him. I think he's a really smart player in a sense, like he can be an extension of the offensive coach on the field. And if you get him in the right spot, he needs to be in the right. Ty Simpson, in my opinion, he is one of those players that is very dependent on the spot. Very dependent on the spot.
Yes.
And so in this case, I think this is a great spot for him. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback at any point in his career, but is he a top 15? Yes. Did you get to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff? Yes.
I'm taking my comp for Ty Simpson is Kirk Cousins. And we saw how well Kirk Cousins worked in Minnesota. He was a guy that you didn't win games because of, but you didn't lose them either. And I think that's what you're going to get from Ty Simpson. So Cleveland's on the clock here. And obviously we've already had a rough go with the first pick, traded down, still ended up with Francis CC Maui-Noah at right tackle. But that's not enough. Here?
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, you're right. Mm-hmm. Yep, you're good.
That's not enough. Because you have a right tackle, but you need to get whoever your quarterback is some weapons. Ooh. And what bigger way to get a weapon than a guy who stands at 6'2", 220 pounds, runs a 4.5, violent after the catch. Yes, he has an ACL injury, but he'll probably be ready for training camp. And by the way, 3 drops on 106 targets. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Cleveland Browns wide receiver, Chris Bell from Louisville.
Chris Bell you should not be the size that Chris Bell is and be able to move the way Chris Bell does. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love that. Love it.
Yes. My comp for him is AJ Brown. You mean to tell me we walk away with AJ Brown at the back end of the first?
Josh.
Oh, Josh hates the pick. That's how you know it's a good pick, Josh. That's how you know it's a good pick, because you hate it.
Hold on. MC, man, like just a backhanded comment. Bill has made me happy for a change.
I'm going to clip that comment, and it's going to go right back here on the back wall somewhere, and it's going to stay there just for the rest of eternity.
Just on the back. We got to get Josh in the Discord. Josh, send me a... Mm-hmm. I need to set up I'm off Twitter right now. But anyway, San Francisco on the board. Man, was that a game last night? San Francisco and Chicago just...
Heavyweight fight all night.
Kyle Shanahan, Ben Johnson, they both coached their butts off last night. That was awesome. What would I like? What am I sitting... It's probably still too early for a safety. I don't know. What do I have?
I can tell you where you probably would, where it probably makes sense to go.
What's that?
Well, Trent Williams is up there in age.
Getting a year early.
Uh-huh. Because I just passed on him.
Caleb Lomu.
Trent Williams is 37 years old.
And Caleb Lomu, the left tackle from Utah, is I don't want to call him developmental because it makes it sound like he's not ready at all, but he still needs some development. I won't slap the developmental like, oh my God, he absolutely cannot play in year one, because that's not the case. But if Caleb Lomu gets to camp, gets to San Fran, he gets to learn behind Trent Williams.
The plane hasn't taken off on his runway. That's the way I describe it. The plane's on the tarmac. It's getting ready to take off. It just hasn't taken off yet. You're in that pre-flight mode. That's where you're at with Caleb Lomu.
But the tools are there. The tools, the traits, everything's there. Need to develop it, put it together. Who better than Kyle Shanahan? Who better than Trent Williams to show him the ropes? You talk about, I said Ty Simpson is a landing spot guy. I think Caleb Lomu might be as well. And this is...
It's about,
you're right,
about
man.
As good as you get.
When you're right, you're right.
Yeah. So New England here at 28. The biggest need is you're staring down the barrel of an edge rusher with obviously Caleb on Chase on and Harold Landry, Landry being injured, banged up a bit. But let's take a look at the edge board. Let's take a look at the edge board.
Dwayne wants to know. Oh, so the Browns, the first pick, Bill traded back to 12, ended up taking Francis Maui Noah, the right tackle from Miami.
Yes. And I know that KM Golf makes a good note here. New England trading for Crosby. I could see it, but in this scenario, we're going to trade pick for pick. So I could see it, but we're not going to quite go there yet. I think we're going to go edge here. I agree with you. And I'm going to go with a guy who's a little bit off the beaten path here. I think he's like Caleb Lomu. He's got some tools. He's kind of fun to watch, but the plane hasn't taken off for him quite yet. And I know that TJ Parker is still here, but this guy has a 90 pass rush grade and has a pass rush win rate of 20% for New England. Give me the 6'3", 240-pound Joshua Josephs from Tennessee here, just to spruce up Mike Vrabel's pass rush.
Case. He said if Crosby doesn't retire a Raider, they should lose their logo. And
he's not wrong. He's not
wrong.
My
last pick here. This one feels like I'm cheating, like I'm stealing it from somebody, but listen, Kenyon Sadiq is a Denver Bronco if I've ever seen him, the tight end from Oregon. The drop rate's not great. You don't want 6 drops on 54 targets. Like, you don't love to see that, but he is just a physical specimen. And like, in terms of like, he can be impactful in the run game. He's a great receiver. I think there's a lot of upside and potential. There are some questions about the off the field maturity and things of that nature. So you got to feel comfortable. And that's probably why he could slide to the back end of the first round. But when Denver comes up on the board, it just feels like adding Kenyon Sadiq to that offense would just, I love it. I love it for Bo Nix and for Sean Payton.
No, I'm with you. I'm 100% there. I'm with you. So before we do pick 32 here, I wanted to make sure, obviously there's some teams that do not have first round selections. I want to make sure we spend some time with those teams. First up, Indianapolis here. Let's take a look at the safety position. Let's take a look at the safety board and see who Indianapolis could land. Yeah, so if we scroll down a little bit, so he will probably land there. So the big thing about Indianapolis is they love their players that are very athletic. They're called the Indiana Raz Colts, Raz standing for relative athletic score, because they take players with high athletic relative athletic scores, or RAS scores that you may hear. So who's one of the most athletic safeties in this class? Well, it would be Kamari Ramsey, the USC safety. Could be a back end guy that could do it all for the Indianapolis Colts, and just a true athletic freak. Of 3% missed tackle rate. Folks, he gets his hands on you, you're not going anywhere.
Played a lot in the slot this year too.
Bingo. We'll also take a look at Jacksonville as well. Jacksonville not having a first round pick by virtue of the Indianapolis Colts, or by virtue of the Cleveland Browns, taking their pick. As much as they want the Greg Newsome trade to work out, it just didn't. So let's take a look at the cornerback position for Jacksonville here. And if we're looking at Jacksonville, we're going to go with a guy for Jacksonville. Could potentially go higher than this, but I think he'll be there for them. A guy who has had 2 missed tackles all year with an 85 coverage grade. It's Arizona State cornerback Keith Abney for Jacksonville. Just a true cornerback 1 in every sense of the word. Slides down a little bit just because he has allowed 32 receptions this season. So he's had a little bit, I won't say a rough year, but it hasn't been the year people expected when there was a lot of first round buzz for him. But I think he's a perfect fit for what Jacksonville wants to do. And we'll stick with corner for Green Bay, who also doesn't have a first-round selection. And we're going to go with cornerback from San Diego State, Chris Johnson.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, just because, I mean, you look at what Chris Johnson's done, a 92 coverage grade, especially in zone coverage, which the Packers love to play zone coverage on the back end. 91 coverage grade in zone. This guy has just an innate feel for what he wants to do in zone and is a very solid zone corner man. And I think he'll be a great fit for Green Bay. And then we'll wrap up with Atlanta, who also has a second-round pick. And Atlanta is going to take a look at a wide receiver. They got to get a weapon for Michael Penix Jr. And when they're looking at wide receivers in the second round, they're going to take a look at a guy who I know there's a lot of love for him out there, and it's very valid. He just doesn't wow me in the way that you'd like, but he's very reliable. He's all reliable wide receiver too. Alabama's Jeremy Bernard.
I love Jeremy
Alabama.
Yep.
For Atlanta. 1.6% drop rate. That's one drop on 97 targets. He catches the ball. That's what Atlanta needs for Michael Penix. He catches the ball. So those are the teams. Go ahead. I'll let you.
I was just going to say real quick before we jump back to the final pick of the first round. The one just to address a couple of comments, talked about the run on Brown wide receivers kind of hurt the Browns in this mock. Yeah, Bell coming back from the injury is a red flag, but ACL's just it's not that big of a deal anymore. Now, when you start compiling ACL injuries, that's a different conversation. But like dudes are coming back in like 8 months just fine, and I just think. But I also, if you were to be like, yeah, that was the factor that made me go away from Chris Bell, I get that. I understand that, but I think he's really talented. I think the tight end to at Oregon might be better. He probably is. But
Jamar Johnson,
Jamar Johnson, he might be.
I might agree. And the other thing, and going back to Josh's, Chris Bell coming back from injury, they could easily go Caleb Lomu there as well and get Chris Bell in the second. I agree. I think them going Chris Bell, if you have concerns about the ACL, remember first-round picks get a fifth-year option. So it gives you an additional year on his runway if you're concerned about him missing any time to start the year. But I agree with that. So we're here at the final pick 32 for Seattle. And this one, for me, would have been a lot easier had one player not fallen. The fact that this guy's fallen this far is a little concerning for me, but I know there's some concerns about his overall size profile and how he's played this year, which is why I'm not going to go with him. A lot of people would say Avion Terrell here, screaming Avion Terrell. Bill, why aren't you taking Avion Terrell? Because of the size concerns. Because of his concerns in man coverage, which Seattle loves to run. So I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to go with a guy who I think has had a really good season filling in for Jermod McCoy, and I think is a perfect fit for what Mike McDonald wants to do. It's Tennessee cornerback Colton Hood, and you look at him, just a solid man corner and very good in zone. Very good overall in coverage, can come up and help defend the run as well. The biggest thing that I look at is that he has had 8 forced incompletions. This guy, when he's around the ball and he's around the wide receiver, he's making a play every single time. And like we said, we saw him come in and step in when Jermod McCoy didn't return and just immediately show up and show out. For me, he's probably going to land somewhere on day 2. But if you told me Seattle picking at 32 just won the Super Bowl, going corner here, Colton Hood's a pretty darn good corner to go at pick 32.
And that is it. That is version 1 of this year's first round mock draft. I'm going to run through it real quick. Here we go. Right off the top, Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders. The Jets swap, come up, get Dante Moore at number 2. The Giants take Carnell Tate at number 3. At number 4, Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State. At number 5, Spencer Fano, the right tackle from Utah, goes to the Cardinals. The Browns trade down to 12. Caleb Downs is the pick for the Dolphins, who get aggressive to come out and get him. Arvell Reese, the linebacker / edge from Ohio State, goes at number 7. Ruben Bain Jr. from Miami goes to the Saints, and the most obvious pick of all time, Jeremiah Love, going to the Chiefs at number 9. Caleb Banks, a defensive tackle from Florida, to the Bengals at 10. At 11 is Jermon McCoy, the corner from Tennessee. At number 12, the Browns take Francis Maui Noah, the right tackle from Miami. Sonny Styles, linebacker from Ohio State, at 13 to the Bucks. Cassius Howell, the pass rusher from Texas A&M, to the Cowboys at 14. At 15, it's Peter Woods, the defensive tackle from Clemson, to Detroit. Caden Proctor, the tackle / guard from Alabama, to the Ravens at 16. At number 17, we got Mansour Delane, the corner from LSU, going to the Vikings. Denzel Boston, the wide receiver. There was a running back, yeah. Jeremiah Love.
There was running back. Jeremiah Love at 9 went to Kansas City.
Denzel Boston, the wide receiver from Washington, to the Jets at 18. David Bailey, the pass rusher from Texas Tech, at 19 to the Panthers. Mekhi Lemon, the USC wide receiver, goes to at number 20 to the Steelers. At number 21, the Cowboys take Vega Ione.
Vega Ione from Penn State. Iwane, yeah. From Penn State. Armason Thomas, the edge from Oklahoma, goes 22 to the Chargers. Casey Concepcion goes the wide receiver from Texas A&M to the Eagles. Chris Brazel, the wide receiver from Tennessee, to Buffalo at 24. At 25, Keldrick Falk, the defensive lineman from Auburn, goes to the Bears. The Texans take Chase Besantis, the guard from Texas A&M, at 26. I take Ty Simpson, the quarterback from Alabama, at 27 for the Rams. 28, the Browns take Chris Bell, wide receiver from Louisville. Caleb Lomu, the left tackle from Utah, goes to San Francisco. Joshua Jacobs, the pass rusher from Tennessee, to the Titans. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon, goes at number 31 to the Broncos. And Colton Hood, the other corner from Tennessee, goes at number 32. Guys, we appreciate you all so much for tuning in. A bunch of people watching this live. If you're not watching that live, that's cool too. But we love you guys. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up. Appreciate you guys so very, very much. And we will talk to you guys again next time. We're out.